Okay, folks, this is Mike from the Oswego Center for Sustainable Living. What's coming up here is the first YouTube show that we're doing for the Oswego Center for Sustainable Living. What I'm talking about is Andy, better known as the Holistic Poet, and I refer to myself as the Valiant Vegan on the show. And we're going to be talking about the controversial beef slaughterhouse that's potentially going to be put in a part of Phoenix, New York, and the farmers in that area are very concerned about it and don't really want it to happen. And Andy and I are going to talk a lot about what we know with regards to the pros and cons of putting such a thing in there, and talking about other sustainable issues. And so, enjoy the show. Please leave some comments. Tell us whether you like it, you don't like it, what your understanding is about the beef slaughterhouses and how they affect the communities that they're put in if you're anywhere near something like that. So anyway, this is our first show, so be patient. There may be a couple of glitches here and there, but anyway, it's approximately an hour long, and we'd really like to have some input from you. So have a good time.
Are we on?
We are now recording. So
okay.
What are we going to talk about today?
I think, well, we're about the Oswego Center for Sustainable Living, so right. I think that's the place to start.
Yeah, I can share that we're working on a new project, which is to work with the town, the people of the town of Schroeppl, okay, which is associated, I understand, with
Phoenix,
New York.
Give me my cues.
I have to go to Andy because I really don't know my way around here yet. I've been away too long.
Okay.
Anyway, I was approached by the people, concerned farmers of Phoenix, New York, that they are quite concerned about the possible construction by Bion Environmental Corporation putting together a large slaughterhouse program in their area. And there's all kinds of issues with the environment, both water, social environment. I mean, I'm also pulling information down about studies that have been done with what effect it has on society as a whole where these places have been built. Now, it's the old chicken and the egg thing. Do cold-hearted people come and work at slaughterhouses, or do people become cold-hearted because they work at slaughterhouses and kill all day long?
I don't know, but I just want to make sure about one thing here. And so from what I'm gathering from you, you're saying that a big slaughterhouse in this area is not compatible with sustainable living.
Right.
And that's what I would like to hear from you, is why that is not. And this will also help you in preparation for tomorrow's meeting.
Oh, that's part of the issue. I'm still doing research on exactly why, so I can make some sense out of it. I've been reading things on the website that was for the Facebook page that was put up to get people's interest in stopping the process, and there are people that have done studies, and I'm in the process of reading. The social study was one of the things I read this morning, which there has been an increase in crime in every area where these slaughterhouses are built.
Do they know what that's from?
Partially, it is, they believe, the social scientists believe it's because of the emotional or lack of emotional attachment to living things after you've been involved in the constant daily slaughtering of another living thing. Others say it's because they attract illegal aliens and poor people to the community because they don't pay very well.
That part doesn't make sense to me, but from a holistic health standpoint,
well, yeah, okay.
Me being the holistic poet, and
right.
being the Valiant Vegan,
right.
holistically, I believe there's been studies done that when you take a population that just eats meat, this is regardless of whether they do any slaughtering or not, that affects their demeanor, because everything you ingest is incorporated into your being. And when you take, I'm going to say dead animal flesh and incorporate it into your being. Now, I eat dead animal flesh, just albeit sparingly, but they've done studies that the people that eat large amounts of meat are more crass. They're not as meek, and they're not as friendly, and they have a lower vibratory rate.
Okay, I wasn't aware there had actually been studies done on that.
Well, I'm not sure there's been studies. That's just what I've heard.
Yeah, I've been looking for information because my heart just tells me that the flesh of the animals that we consume has been imprinted, I have to believe, with the energy of their final demise, which I've watched the videos, and it's a terrifying experience. I don't care that they're not human beings. They're living things, and
they're sentient beings.
Right. And I've watched the cow behind the cow that gets nailed with that gun that hits them. I guess they shoot something into their brain, and it's supposed to knock them out or kill them. But the cow behind literally trying to turn itself around and run away. It knows what's happened.
Yeah, it can tell what's happening.
It knows what's happening. So anyway, that whole terrifying process is.
Okay, another thing I'd like to reiterate here is now the Chinese people are some of the longest living people on the earth. They have a very long lifespan.
Right.
And their general diet is about 10% of their food comes from animal protein. So that's very unlike the American diet, where 30 to 40% of our nutrition comes from, or our protein comes from animal protein.
Right.
And so just for health reasons, eating all that animal protein is not the best thing that one can do for their physical health.
Correct.
It has a lot of problems that come up from, like heart disease, and certain forms of cancer, especially from being cooked at high temperatures. And there's a lot of things to take into consideration, and that I think goes along with more sustainable living.
Right.
As far as it takes much less agricultural land to feed plant vegetarian food than it does animal.
Right.
I'm sorry I'm stuttering, but
no, I understand what you mean, and also I understand the amounts of water that haven't been fully analyzed, because they've never taken into account the amount of water that's used to produce the number 2 corn that they're using to feed the cows, and then all the water that's used in the processing of these animals is enormous.
Well, we should now, if you want to talk about the food that they're using, the number 2 corn, almost all that corn nowadays is genetically modified.
Right, GMO, sure.
So when you're feeding these cows genetically modified corn, which they say is perfectly safe, even though they've never done any studies or any tests, and there have been some independent studies that I've heard about, and I notice I don't actually, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't substantiate anything that I'm saying, but that's okay for me for now. But I've heard of studies that they've had problems in like laboratory rats from feeding them solely genetically modified material.
Right. Yeah, there is a.
We should get some of these studies, because I don't want to talk about all these studies without actually saying anything about it.
We're also in the process of trying to make people aware, but that's one of the books